Hey! So, here I am doing my first actual video, which hopefully provides some more useful information instead of just doing guitar videos and stupid faces, what I've been doing so far mainly. So I was thinking to do this kind of project walkthrough of this one video that I made some time ago. And I was thinking that this particular one would be a good choice because there's so much of stuff happening, all kind of post-production stuff and those kind of things, so hopefully it would provide the most useful information for someone who is doing similar things. So yeah, I was thinking I would walk you through completely, like starting from the sort of the mixing kind of things, and yeah, then going through all the instruments and the VST instruments as well. What I decided to use on this song, so to speak. So yeah, let's dive in. So I think we could start from the top. I'm still trying to look to the lens instead of the screen. Basically from the master bus. I could actually play a little bit of the song in case you haven't heard it. So there you go. So there's quite a lot of stuff happening, but I think it's best to start from the top. So from the master bus, basically, what I'm doing over there, doing some EQ. This is actually like a big project of mine, so I've been doing these tweaks. Basically based on each of the songs that I've been working on. So there's maybe some weird stuff that I've just left on and kept. But yeah, basically not like huge amount of things happening. Just getting rid of some like mid stuff, and then some of the like below 30 rumble. Not really useful at all, and yeah, that's basically it. I can just play a little bit with and without it. Yep, so not a huge factor in this one. Then I'm using a little bit of tape emulation, which is, yeah, not a huge amount. And okay, this time I didn't do this. Adds quite a lot of bass, but since I didn't use this so much, I didn't dial it down at all. But yeah, I don't always like to use it, but this time for some reason I did. Then doing some gluing kind of compression for the whole thing, and adding some drive to it, so it's not really doing that much compression at all. But yeah, let's see. It's very subtle. Then I'm doing like mastering kind of compression, which is doing most of the work basically. Yep. And for some reason I still have this ozone thing going on, so I think what I did, I used some reference song with the master assistant just to give like some kind of comparison to like a real, like a industrial level mix. So I just used that as a starting point and then made some tweaks. Apparently there was quite a lot of lows that wasn't that necessary, and then there is this dynamic thing that I really like, which is very subtle actually. So it's like a dynamic EQ, so it's not like doing it all the time, only when there is too much stuff happening in these regions. So let's see with and without it. Yeah, so it's kind of making things tighter and somehow cleaner. It's getting rid of some of the harsher stuff as well. So it's pretty good. And then I have my limiter as well. Yeah, obviously a huge volume thing, but it's also like cutting some of those highest or loudest transients as well. But this is quite nice because it's quite transparent in the end, even though it's, you know, affecting a lot to the snare hits, which are apparently the loudest thing in this mix. But I'm not really like doing a huge amount of limiting actually, so I wanted to keep this kind of yeah, not like super limited sounding, more headroom. Then what I'm doing is I have rooted all the things in a way. These names are, I don't know, I just stole them from somewhere and they just kind of stick, but basically how I've rooted things is that this in bass is all my band instruments, so guitars, bass and drums, like, yeah, rhythm guitars basically. So and then this out bass is basically everything else in this case, and sometimes I actually have a third one, so I would probably put like vocals and clean guitars, lead guitars, solo guitars, basically everything that I would like to sort of stay on top into this out bus, and then I would probably have like a third one which would be only for, or like mainly for the post-production kind of stuff. So, you know, just more control basically. So let's start with this in bus. So here I'm doing the thing that I feel like most of the people are doing these days. So I have the snare pretty loud in the mix, but this one is basically ducking down the whole mix every time when the snare comes in. So it's basically keeping the snare all the time audible. And it's acting really like fast, so you can't really like hear the difference. It's only like well, you can hear the difference if I put it off, but basically it's kind of it's acting so fast that you can't really tell that the whole mix is being ducked down by the snares. But let's see how it works. So it's kind of huge thing in this mix, because without it, it's kind of falling apart. Then this is kind of a huge part of it, where I'm doing the most of the EQ sort of things. I have some console emulation going on, and then basically these two EQs are sort of defining the whole mix's kind of balance, so to speak. So this Neve thing is providing all the low end, putting like nearly 2 dB of it. So let's try with and without these two. Let's start with the low end, basically. Or actually, I will put both of them off first. So that's the low portion, and then this one is providing all the top end. So let's do that as well. So yeah, obviously pretty huge difference, and I usually start with these. So in this way, if I put this on already in the beginning, I don't need to do so much in the individual channels. So yeah, it kind of works every time, and I feel like, yeah, it's less moves, I think, on the individual channels. So it's nice to keep things more simple. And then I have also this revival thing, which is kind of doing the same thing, but in a smaller scale. I don't know if these are even like dBs or what, but it's not really that huge difference. It was just something kind of like, yeah, the last sort of touch. And then I also have a compressor for all the bands. Sometimes it's very difficult to speak. Yeah, so I have a compressor for the in bus where all the band instruments are. So let's try that. So yeah, it's not like a crazy thing. It's kind of gluing things together, and yeah, that's basically all it's doing. Then I have this out bus, which I'm doing basically the same things as with the band instruments. So I'm adding some bass, a little bit less than to the other ones, because I don't want to get all this post-production stuff sort of in the way on the low end. So not that much of that, and then these are pretty much the same amounts. Sometimes I like to do tweaks here for the overall sound of these instruments, but yeah, let's see with and without it anyway. So yep. So there you go. This is kind of the master bus and all the like mix buses that I have going on in this project. So like I said, sometimes I have more, but I don't have any vocals on this bit, so this is plenty enough. So yeah, let's go next to the drums. I'm probably gonna start with just checking what I'm using. So these are the GTD libraries, the two ones that I'm mainly using, the Invasion and then the Modern and Massive. So I have basically stacked all these. Let's open that as well. So I have stacked these two libraries actually multiple times, and basically for two reasons. One is that I'm actually using the kick and snare from the Modern and Massive. So it would be these ones. And then I am also using sort of like as a trigger another two of them. So it would be these ones. And I've done this quite stupid way, because I think you could just, you know, set the notes here in the settings in a way that it would trigger the both of these sets in the same time. But yeah, I was stupid when I made this in the first time, and just basically left it as is. But I think you can do it quite easily if I'm not wrong. So that's one reason why I'm doing this. So yeah, there's nothing going on in this invasion. I'm not using the kick and snare on this one. I'm using the toms though. And then what I'm doing, why I have these ones, because there's these you can choose different kind of like these crashes and other cymbals. So I have basically stacked these sets in a way that I can access all of these cymbals. So I think I have like 3 different. So in this case you can see like over here the stack, the closed stack sort of would be one of these. Where is it? Okay, there's also this mini stack, but basically this trash stack would be the tied one. So I have that on this one, and then from another, I think it was actually here, this is the open, like the loose stack, so I have it here. So in this way I can have both of those cymbals going on there, which is nice. You know, when you're writing, you don't want to like start to adjust things. So in this way I have all of the, I think all of them, proudly all of the cymbals here mapped on this map, so I can access all of them. There's 2 different rides in this way, so I can then, you know, decide if there is a if the other ride sounds better for other part. I have that option as well, and quite a lot of different chinas and crashes as well. The mini stack there as well, which is so yeah. That's how I basically have set this up. And yeah, I just literally went and made this map from the scratch, and yeah, then you can just go here in the settings and set these up in the way if you're liking. But yeah, basically you can then yeah, do whatever feels best to you, and how you have like the easiest way to do things. So yeah, I'm keeping the velocities quite the same. I'm not doing like a whole lot of like humanization, if that's the right word. But yeah, in some parts I'm doing that, especially with the snare, because I'm using those ghost notes here and there, actually quite a lot in some. And then with the kicks as well, sometimes I'm doing a little bit of change in these velocities, but you know, it's not real drums, so that wasn't the point to make it like super human-like. But I'm sure you can do it if you just put more time into it and go like one hit at a time, and you know, trying to think when you're kind of like playing the drums, that how, especially with the kicks, how would you do, like if you have two hits back to back, both of them can't be like the same velocity, or at least they can't be as loud as just one single hit. At least usually it wouldn't be the case, but yeah, that's basically the drum, this side of things. Then to the mixing part, here is the group, which is taking all of them. Well, there's not huge amount of things going on here. It's just console emulation and a little bit of that smiley curve added to it. So then a little bit of tape emulation again. I'm doing that quite a lot in this with the drums, especially. It's nice to have. So let's check that with and without. Yeah, here I have done this bass alignment thing because the this gives quite a lot of low end. Especially if you're driving it harder, so then I have to just like dial down a little bit of this part, so it doesn't like get too intense on the bass end of things. Then I have also a soft clipper, which apparently this was the only one that I have at the moment. But basically this is kind of, I think it's mainly affecting the snare hits, but it's very subtle because it's a clipper and not a limiter, so we can check how it sounds like. Yeah, pretty subtle thing. Where's all this hair coming from my mouth? It's weird. Alright, let's go with this one. So basically I have all the shells grouped into this one group. So here I'm doing very little things. This is a transient shaper, so adding a little bit of attack and apparently sustain, and then doing this pump thing, which I'm not actually quite sure what it's doing really, but well, you can see it from the visual. If I keep turning this up, it's making the curve like that. So I guess it's some kind of making it sound more like compressed, but without it being compressed. Well, here it actually saying something. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, this sounds like making it more like in your face, basically. Then I'm doing this thing which I basically stole from someone, which I really like the sound and the combination of these things. So, and I also added this little bit some tube saturation to it. But basically, there is this EQ which is, yeah, it's providing some low and high end. Let's see what it's doing. And then this is the pretty huge factor in this one. So it's basically doing the parallel compression thing, which I've always found really beneficial. I mean, you can do it in a lot of different ways, like side chaining, or just having like a group that you put certain portions of these, whatever you want to send to that channel, and then blend it in to the you know, the not processed portion of it. So But I decided to go with this because this is way more simple and sounds. I kind of like this sound, especially with this stressor, what it's doing, and this setup that I said, I just stole from someone. So let's see what it's doing. Let's see if I put it on solo, like what it's doing then. Yeah, so it's giving that, you know, more sustain, so that the drums sort of ring out more, and it's making it more exciting in a lot of ways. So then with this mix knob, you can just dial it back, like if some part of the song you would need more, then just make an automation, and you know, it's just one knob to change. So that's kind of what I've kept for quite a long time now, but yeah, I like to try new things, but in this project this has been the way to go. So if we go with the kick next, I'm doing a little bit of transient designing or shaping as well. So let's see. Yeah, similar kind of things. So I just wanted to do that also on the individual channel as well, for some reason. Probably just, you know, making it a little bit more in your face, like afterwards. So here is the compressing, what is going on. So yeah, for the kick, I usually just leave it like this, and then with this attack knob, you can easily, you know, define like how tight basically you want it to be. So it's a nice way to have control of that. Otherwise, I wouldn't probably use a whole lot of compression for the kick if it's like yeah, if the source is good, and like in this case there's not like a whole lot of like volume or other changes. So but that's what I usually like to do. And then this hell of an EQ which is quite actually normal what happens, at least in my mixes. But yeah, I don't know if it makes sense to go to all of these, but you can probably see from this that what I'm trying to get rid of, you know, the low mids and the mids basically from all the way, and then leaving more the beater sort of attack in, and then also the lower side of things. So you can just, you know, check this with and without this EQ. Yeah, it's making it quite a lot of quieter as well, so that's why it's sounding like crap coming out of this. But and I'm actually boosting a little bit, but basically, yeah, that's how I usually go with this. So yeah, just basically just checking, listening to the whole mix, and then usually this beater attack is something that you kind of need to, because I'm boosting so much in the master bus. So then this is kind of the portion that I really have to look out, so that the beater is not like all the time in your ear, because it can get really easily that with this kind of setup. So I was also having this tape emulation going on. So let's see with and without it. So it's kind of like making it a little bit more smooth and getting rid of some of that nasty stuff. I'm also, taking out some of that bass portion of it because it was a little bit too much of that already. Then if you go to the snare, again a little bit of that. Actually, I'm not doing anything with these, but this pump thing, for some reason I like the sound of it, so that's what I was doing. Let's try with and without. Yeah, so it's a little bit more in your face, I guess is the right term. Then there's again going some channel emulation. Then this Neve EQ is doing quite a lot of boost in the lows. So around 120 hertz, it's doing 3 dB. Although I'm not sure if these are quite accurate numbers, but basically let's see with and without this one, because it's quite a big boost. Yeah, and then there's also some little bit of some kind of mix of some tube saturation, and then it's going to the main compression of the snare. So this is also a big factor. So let's try with and without it. Sorry. Yeah, I like to hit it pretty hard, but yeah, sounds best to me like that. And then doing quite a lot of boost actually in the top end as well. So yeah, it sounds pretty crazy bright actually in this, like soloed, but I don't know, with the rest it seems fine. Actually, what I should probably show is I'm not doing much in these individual channels, but in the snare I'm actually doing a little bit on this low, the bottom snare, where this come here. So I'm doing a little bit of EQ to get rid of that rattly kind of sound. Let's see with and without it. Yeah, so it's a little bit too much of that, because I wanted to get more lows also from the bottom mic. So in this way, getting rid of some of that wire response, I guess, is yeah, I was able to make it a little bit more loud, especially as I'm boosting this much of the highs as well. So not doing really much here. Otherwise, there's something going on, but I can show them when I get to these tracks. Yeah, a little bit of that smiley curve thing happening again. So then the next one, I'm boosting a little bit of more lows. This is especially, it's not like 3 dB, but it's some amount, and then also some of those highs. So with yeah, this is doing like even without touching these at all, it's still doing some kind of like well, it's doing some kind of volume boost, and I guess adding some harmonics as well. So sometimes it's just nice to have without even anything boosting anything or anything like that. So, and then after that, I'm doing a little bit of, getting rid of some of the stuff that I didn't like. So there was some mud going on here. and then yeah, some little bit more boxy kind of mid-range, and then it was also ringing a bit, so I took that out with this. So yeah, we can try with this EQ on and off. Yeah, it's making it a little bit more bright and yeah, less muddy. Then I have also this tape machine again, and this is actually, I'm driving it pretty hard, so it's clipping. Yeah, getting rid of some of that low part. Not that much though, but yeah, that's basically the snare. I could probably show the reverb as well, what is happening with these. The toms are also sending into this verb, so there's the verb itself. Really like this Valhalla room. I'm using it a lot in a lot of different instruments. Then with this transient designer, I'm just adding a little bit more sustain to it, so it's ringing out a little bit more. Not a huge thing. Then here is the EQ. So basically, I'm getting rid of, you know, the after 4K, everything above that, and then also the lower part of it, like 160, something like this. And no, actually that's different, but here I'm doing also getting rid of some of that fundamental snare on the whole spectrum, and then I have also a dip which is only affecting on the middle channel. So what it's doing is kind of like, sounds like it's, yeah, it sounds a little bit more wide in that way, and it's not getting like in the way because the snare is in the middle, so you shouldn't put like a whole lot of stuff on the same region. And then this boost here is only for the side, so it's, again, it's making more wide. So let's try with and without this this EQ. Yeah, so obviously without it, it's horrible. Then I'm doing a little bit of compression to it, 60% mix. Yeah, it's more of that kind of parallel kind of thing, so it's compressing quite a lot actually, but you know, it's, the mix isn't like full 100%, so it's still having that original sound to it. Okay, that's basically it. We can check the toms next. This is gonna be a long long video. Anyways, this here, doing a little bit of adding some lows with this to toms. Maybe it would be better to actually find a place where there are toms playing. There. It's still a little bit, probably too much of that, but yeah. So adding some of those lows. It's in a weird place, but anyways. Some tape machine. I guess I wanted to make it a little bit more like warm kind of sounding. Don't really use this a lot, but in this case I had it on. Then here I'm just getting rid of all the mid-range basically on it, and there's also some dynamic EQ going on, which probably isn't that useful, but anyway, it's there. And then adding quite a lot of highs to it. So let's see with and without. Sounds pretty bad. Quite a lot better, I think. Then I'm doing this, using this limiter to get rid of the peaks of the toms, because they really easily get like super annoying. Yeah, you can hear it better in the mix. Without it, they usually pop out way too much. Then I'm using this gate as an expander because I was too lazy to change the sustain of the notes in the contact itself. So this is basically just doing that. Yeah, pretty obvious thing. Then for the cymbals, so I have routed all the cymbals into this one. So hi-hats, rides, yeah, the overheads are all going into this cymbals group. First, some EQ. So I'm getting rid of, usually first, always getting rid of this, the harsh part of it. So that's usually quite annoying to me, and without it, it's just way too overbearing in a way. Yeah, then I was doing apparently a little bit more here because maybe I should have probably make the hi-hat less loud in the contact itself. So I was just getting rid of that here. It's not that useful probably. Oh, it's doing something. It's fine. And then getting rid of some of those boxy kind of things. We can try without these and without. So yeah, especially those shells sound way too boxy in here, so just taking care of that, and then basically cutting the lows a little bit under, a little bit below the fundamental of the snare. So that's it. Then doing kind of like a parallel compression again. So let's see. Yeah, so basically it's just giving more sustain to all the crashes and whatever is happening there. Then I'm using the limiter here because I think I was also getting rid of some of the peaks on the toms. Sometimes it's good for the snare as well. But apart from that, it's just basically giving more volume. Alright, and lastly with the drums, there's rooms. So this is a little bit crazy, but let's see what I have going on here. So here on the individual channels, I'm doing also something. So, and this would be the close room. So yeah, adding some more sustain to it, and then with this compressor, that's also not like all the way, just 40% or something. Basically doing the same thing, so compressing. Yeah, compressing quite a lot, but still, it's not like almost half in the mix. And then this room 4 this is only like compression going on. that's what it's doing. Let's go back to the group where I'm processing both of these. So then here I have some EQ going on. Yeah, so doing similar things than to the Cymbals group, and also what happened in the reverb group as well. So getting rid of some of those harsh parts of the sound, and yeah, then doing this, getting rid of some of the mud in the middle channel again, and then getting rid of the annoying low stuff what is happening there. So, and then also doing this side boost, so again making it a little bit wider. Then with this transient shaper, I'm doing getting rid of some of those transients and then adding more sustain to it. And then followed by compression, which is again more like a parallel sort of thing. Yep. And then again a little bit of tape machine. This is also a good way to glue the sound together, so that's what I'm doing here, I think, mainly. Yeah, so basically I think that's all the drums. Yay. That's always the most time consuming part of things, but yeah, so let's proceed finally to the bass. So here's what it's sounding like itself. So yeah, I was using my Dingwall, the NG2, with this, and basically I tracked the DI, and then it was going to my Axe effects, where I have like I think it's some kind of dark class overdrive thing where it was going. Can't quite remember. So yeah, basically I recorded both of those, and in this case I'm using the DI portion of the sound only as like the low end of the sound. So I'm filtering out everything like what is it, after like 200 or something. Let's see. And then this dynamic thing, EQ is doing sort of like, yeah, just compressing it kind of already. And then the Saturn, just giving some more harmonic distortion to it. And then I have a limiter going on, which is doing quite a lot of reduction, but just wanted to sort of keep the bass all the time in the same volume, and it's also, you know, giving some more harmonic content to it, as well as is this R bass doing. Because it's basically the DI one, which is pretty clean by itself. So it's good to have a little bit more harmonics going on there, because it's not going into any like amp or IR. So with this Axe effects thing, what I had going on, it's then doing the opposite, so it's filtering out all the lows. And then both of them, they are going into this group where I'm doing a lot of things apparently. Yeah, this EQ is quite an artistic, looks like some kind of art in a way, although it probably wouldn't be that, but yeah, basically what I'm doing is just getting rid of some of that low mid portion of the sound, and then also the highest ones, and then the harsh stuff. And I usually try to leave it so that the kind of the presents where the bass is present is somewhere here in the 1 to 2K region, and then you want to have some lows in your bass, so that's what I'm basically doing. So we can try with and without it, but it's gonna be quite a huge thing. Yeah, so that's kind of what it looks like, where I'm trying to get a little bit every time. Then there's some multiband compression going on, so I'm just taking these bands basically and compressing each of them individually. So, and then those ones, and then yeah, it's basically making again the low end more like I don't know what's the word, so that it doesn't like move at all. So we can try with and without it. Yeah, it's not a huge, well, it doesn't sound like it's a huge move. Then again, some tape. And here I apparently liked the bass it was providing, so I just left it like as is. Then it's going to this compressor. Yeah. Then I have again I have a limiter here, which is getting rid of the peaks. And yeah, it's providing quite a lot of volume as well. And then I have this track spacer thing going on, which is basically the kick is triggering this, so it's ducking down in this region that I have dialed in, and then yeah, basically creating more space every time when the kick comes in. So yeah, it's especially in the busier parts of the mix. It's really handy. And I think I had a little bit more EQ here that I did probably afterwards. So let's see those moves as well. Yeah, there was too much of that high, whatever, a little bit annoying stuff going on, and then a little bit too much of that 100. So that's the bass. Can go to the rhythm guitars next. So let's see. Yeah, so these both are going into the same group, and here I have the basic multiband thing going on. So it's whenever the palm mute's coming, it's ducking down the lower part of the spectrum. So well, it's doing it like in other parts as well, but it's kind of nice. It's keeping it more even. Then here's the EQ that I'm doing. So basically what even though it looks a little bit complicated maybe, but basically what I'm doing is there's always some kind of low end like a static thing happening somewhere here, so that's just getting rid of that. And then a little bit of that, maybe a mud or whatever it would be. And then what I usually do next is getting rid of the harsh stuff here, usually around like 2 to 3 Ks about. And then for some reason this 4K is always, well, not always, but I probably have some kind of OCD thing about it, so most of the times I'm getting rid of it, even though it's probably not necessary. But I think in this time it actually was, so there's some annoying hiss sound going on. And then usually around here 1K region there is quite a lot of information, especially with these pickups. This is the Fishman Fluence modern ones. I feel like there is some kind of bump around this region, and that combined with the Friedman amp and the IRs that I was using, it's kind of overwhelming around here. So it's a good idea to make cuts over there and then make more space to the other instruments. So, but yeah, I can maybe take these higher ones and let's see with and without it. So yeah, pretty clear. It's a huge improvement. And then maybe these 3, let's see what it does. Yeah, so quite a big change. And then also, filtering out below 100, and then some of that useless, like about 10K. Sometimes I just bring it even more down, like 8 or less. And then I think I have a little bit of going on here as well, getting rid of some of that high-end stuff that was getting in the way. Then some tape machine again. I don't like to use it that much actually, but for some reason I wanted to use the tape machine here as well. So then I have a limiter, which is just doing some volume boost mainly, and it's also getting rid of some of those higher peaks. Yep. And then I have a compressor here after the limiter for some reason, which I think in this case, because there was these weird things, these ones, so I think because of that, I wanted to make it more, tighter with so that the both sides would kind of glue in together a little bit more, because they're not that, could be tighter actually played, but it worked in this case. So that's why it was in, but usually I actually don't even have any compressor on the rhythm guitars. And then there was a little bit more EQ here, so I'm getting rid of more of that high mid part of the sound. Let's see. Yeah, so that's guitars. It's quite simple stuff, I would say. Then what I did was just a little bit more special in this project, was that I was using some octaver with the guitars, just to provide a little bit more some kind of oomph to the sound, whatever that means. So I played this in 2 different octaves, this low and high, and then I added like an octave lower, like some, I don't know, maybe like 50% mix of those. So let's see how the low ones sound like. Pretty nasty. And then I played another one with the same setup, I think, just like an octave higher, so. And yeah, both of them together. These moves are probably the same as with the rhythm guitars. I just copied everything, and probably did something different. It's a gate, I don't know why. And then this was probably what I added, so just getting rid of some of the stuff that it doesn't clash with the main 2 guitars. So these moves are only to fight, back, or just getting rid of the stuff that wasn't necessary. So let's hear with the guitars, and actually the volume is not that high either, so it's more like it's pretty subtle. I think it was. It's quite loud actually in the mix, and now as I hear it again, probably a little bit too much of mids going on here on this, but it is now what it is. So yeah, let's leave it like that. All right, then what else we had here? Guitars, lead guitars here. So basically what I did, I had two like octave higher played parts of this, and then what I played for the video, it was like a little bit lower register, the same thing. So yeah, and they're all, I'm not doing anything on the individual channels, so they're all grouped into this lead group. And here's what I'm doing: some EQ, getting rid of some harsh stuff, similar things with the rhythm guitars, some lows. Yeah, the muddy stuff, just getting rid of that. And yeah, this, I wonder why this isn't on. I think I was doing something in the around here as well. Yeah, quite a lot of things actually. So yeah, getting rid of a lot of those mids and then again some of the hard stuff and 4K. So yeah, let's hear with and without this EQ, which is probably a pretty big thing. Yeah, I think the balance was pretty off, and I've been meaning to, work on the IRs and the lead sounds for a while, but for some reason it hasn't been in my first priority. So I've just kept this setup going on, and then using the same sounds because I've had it here dialed in already. But yeah, that's quite simple. Then this is probably providing just some more volume after those moves, getting rid of stuff. And then yeah, I was being lazy. I just added these effects directly to this track, but usually I just like to make a different here's already some kind of FX group going on, but in this case I just threw them here and then used the mix knob to dial it in. So yeah, this is just regular delay, and then just to even out a little bit of those peaks that it creates, I usually like to use a little bit of reverb to even those out. So, but yeah, not a huge amount of things apart from the EQ, which I should probably do something about it. But yeah, there's no vocals in this one, so let's just get rid of those. And yeah, we can finally move on the post-production stuff. So here there is not a huge amount of mixing sort of things happening, just some basic EQ stuff and that, but I can show some of them as well. But I think I'm just gonna do show what I used basically and how I set them up, and maybe some of these MIDI mappings as well. So let's start from the top tracks. Here are some chorus going on. I'm using the East-West chorus diamond ones. I think both of them are the same, and it's the ooh articulation, like, I suppose. So yeah, I think they're going also to some reverb FX channel, so just to add a little bit more of that reverb to them. And yeah, I think at this time I didn't do much of the what I usually do if I make like a final product for like an album or something. Obviously it's the modulation is, or the expression, depending on the instrument. Sometimes it's actually controlled by this modulation, but yeah, of course then you would like to do it so that it actually changes like realistically, because nobody usually sings like this, like full on and full off. So basically, yeah, this EQ isn't doing a whole lot right now because I've got some sidechain things happening here, because I have also like some vocals in this same project going on, but not in this song. So I've used it as like a dynamic EQ, which is triggered by the vocals. So right now it's not really doing huge amount of things, so it's getting rid of some of that more presence zone. It was getting in the way, and then adding some clarity to them. So that's basically all that it's doing. All right, let's go to the piano, which seems to be next on the. If we go one by one, I'm using this Arturia piano, which came with the keyboard. So yeah, nothing much to it. I'm doing a little bit of EQ, getting rid of quite a lot of the lows, and then there was some boxy things happening in the mid-range, and then a little bit of clarity. So let's see again, with and without. Yeah, quite small moves. Then I have some horns that I've basically stacked. So there are French horns, a couple different trumpet libraries, and yeah, I guess in this project there isn't more. But yeah, I'm using the East-West brass libraries, I think, mainly on this one. So yeah, probably the 6 French horns ones, and then there's like a trumpet solo one as well, and then like a whole like a trumpet section as well. So let's see this like all together. So yeah, I think again I was being too lazy, and I didn't do any like expression things at this to this project. So I was just, you know, throwing them in and moving forward, because they are really like background things which are kind of like basically supporting the guitar melody, what is playing the same thing. EQ wise, just getting rid of some of the lows and some of the mud, so it doesn't get in the way of the band instruments. And then usually with the horns, especially in trumpets, there are some really nasty stuff happening in the upper mids. Not here, but probably here was something. Oh, okay. This time I didn't do much to them, but usually there is some really harsh things happening with these French horns. Apparently there was, because I did something to it, but that's basically it. I'm not compressing, not doing anything. I think I'm sending all of them actually to no, I don't even have any sends, so they are not going, because a lot of the times I like to have, if it's like a whole orchestra kind of things, just to glue things together a little bit more, I'm sending all of them to like a separate FX channel, which is like reverb. So it's basically in this way, it's get the impression that it's more in the same room. So that's something that I like to do occasionally, especially if it's like really bare. I don't know, like if there's only those instruments playing, and it's not like a background thing. I like to do that usually. Then there's some synth stuff which is playing the same melody. Kind of funny sound from this Anna. Yeah, something bass vox, whatever. And doing some EQ to it, quite a lot actually. I think this was pretty bright sound, so just trying to balance it to the mix. Yeah, there's some weird hissing sound kind of things which was apparently annoying, so just got rid of that. Then I'm using the Albion 1 by Spitfire, this library, so this is some kind of pad, kind of like a sci-fi type of thing. Yeah, a huge fan of the stuff that they're doing, and this library as well. It's great for like sound design sort of things. So this is also from the same library, this pandemic thing. think here I have more stuff playing. So this really distorted kind of synth sound. And I'm sending it to, or it's going to a chopper. So it's just making it a little bit more percussive and fitting into the song, making it a little bit more intense. Alright, then I have this, in the intro I have this electronic drum thing happening here. So they're all grouped into this group because I wanted to do some filtering thing to it. So it's basically, yeah, you can see what it's doing. So pretty simple, just some automation. And then the Valhalla reverb is doing the final kind of this sustained thing. I think these are probably the stock libraries, just Groove Agent, something, just some hi-hat. Yeah, I'm not doing a whole lot to them actually. Probably some more reverb. And to the snare, probably adding some harmonic content, similar kind of compression than the snare. And then I wanted to have this kind of, what's the word, kind of slap back sort of thing. So this delay is doing that basically. Yeah, so that's what it's doing. And then I've also, again, surprisingly, Valhalla going on. Yeah, these are all from the Groove Agent. Some air bass with the kick, or the bass, whatever is the drum. And a little bit more verb just to tie it together with the rest of them. Usually it's not a great idea to have reverb on the kick, but this time works. Yeah, that's that. Moving forward to the synths. Again, using this Anna library, and yeah, the EQ, just getting rid of some things that were in the way. And this as well is going to the chopper, which I've automated, so it's, you know, going in and out whenever I felt like it was most appropriate. It's a really funny sound, like it's getting a little bit out of hand, sounds like. But yeah, then I have basically some, I think this is doing something else. Yeah, this kind of siren type of sound that I wanted to have. So it's only like accenting those. Again, reverb going on. Then this is playing the same as the main lead synth. And yeah, not much happening actually here. With the EQ is again getting rid of the lows, and yeah, whatever is getting in the way of the band itself. Some harsh stuff, and there was too much of the air kind of happening. Then I have actually grouped all these bass synths in the same group. Apparently because I wanted to use the track spacer for all of them and I was lazy. So there's different tracks that I'm feeding into it, so it's ducking down every time when the band's, you know, the drum kit's kick is happening, also the electronic drums, and apparently the bass is also coming in, so it's kind of reacting to a lot of them, so that, you know, it's getting out of the way, but still whenever it's not, when the others are not playing, it's, you know, the sound doesn't get like super thin and weird, and you would need to like automate some EQ moves, which is, you know, sometimes you have to do it, but if you can avoid it, it's, you know, win-win situation. So yeah, I can maybe show with some here in the beginning. Maybe put these drums on as well. So yeah, it's giving way more space to the kick drums basically. What else it's doing? Yeah, apparently I had a little bit more of that going on already with something with this EQ, but I think it's not doing that much now. But then, you know, just getting rid of some of the mids and adding some highs, and yeah, I didn't really need to get rid of that much of the lows because of the track spacer, what it's doing. So I think on the individual channels probably did similar kind of things, so still getting rid of some of those lows and some of the annoying parts of the sound. Yeah, some harsh, basically just making it fit into the mix better, so it doesn't like stick out too much. Same with these, same thing happening. Yeah, and it's all, you know, depending on the source sound, what it's like. Some of them are super like bassy, so then just have to get rid of more of the stuff if it's on the way. And then there's some octave thing as well. All right, yeah, pretty subtle thing I think in the background, but apparently it was necessary. Yeah, I think these are all actually from this Anna, because at the time I didn't have a lot of others. Now I have the Arturius Pigments, which is really nice library of sounds. So yeah, I'm gonna experiment with that later on, but at this time, and this Anna is actually really great. You can find a whole lot of different kind of synth sounds there. So, and it's really like easy, intuitive to use and find sounds with it. So it's pretty good. Okay, I had some, I guess, some kind of tambourine or something. No, shaker going on here with the drums. And finally, yeah, there was some of these post-production things happening, so just some kind of slams and booms and bass drops and whatever, so you can just show some of them. This snare bomb thing happening, and it was going to this automated pan thing right in the beginning of the song, I think. And then this, some kind of derailed type of sound. Yeah, just had to do it a little bit more, you know, just to fit in the tempo. Had to chop it. And yeah, and there's happening some panning, automated panning to it. and then there's some bass drop, which apparently I'm not doing anything to it. Usually there is way too much of the sub. Well, it's a bass drop, so usually there is, but a lot of the time it's in the way. But at this time, because it was not like the band wasn't playing when it came in, which probably shouldn't do anyways. But sometimes if you do, you really need to get rid of some of that really low stuff, because it's messing up the whole mix and the the mastering. In the master bus, the compressor will go crazy, so something to always check. And a couple more. These were in the end of the song. So yeah, I think that's pretty much covers everything that I did with this. So it's been a long long video, so I hope some of the stuff was actually useful for someone, and if you liked what I did, or if you didn't like it, let me know in the comments, and I would like to know if this was useful information to anyone, and if you would like to see more this kind of content. I really like to do these kind of things as well, besides just playing and making stupid faces in the guitar videos. But so yeah, let me know if you like. Thanks for watching.